I couldn't resist starting this video with a finished product. This is how I fitted my multi-fuel stove into my narrowboat. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and all that malarkey. You know what to do. Thank you. Okay, so I think I've got all the parts I need. I might not need all of these, but I've got the multi-fuel stove. I've got a collar. So I've got that. I've sprayed it in very high temperature paint, so it's now nice and black. I've already got the fireboard in place at the back. The same with the side ones. I've cut them to size. I'm going to fit them in there with the appropriate spacers. What else have I got? I've got a sheet of, I think it's galvanized, it might be stainless steel, I can't remember, but it's not supposed to rust. That is going to go here to make sure, with a spacer as well, to make sure nothing heat-wise gets through to the timber underneath. I've got two of these, just in case. I've got the silicone top that I can use, but I also bought this, and I've also got the heat proof, or whatever it's called, silicone for connecting all the joins, and I've also got the fire cement in case that's preferable to join up the pipes and the collar and everything else. I've also got somewhere some black CT1 to stick everything down outside the boat. So I think I've got everything. You might want to pause at this point and make yourself a cup of tea, because I think this might be a long one. Right, I nearly didn't film this, just in case I made the balls up, but I've started making a hole in the roof for the stove. I've got my flue pipe, and I've got it so it angles slightly inwards. You can just about probably see a bit of daylight there where I've made a hole to start from. I've made a couple of pilot holes around it. Well, I'll show you now anyway. Right, so I've got a big drill bit which I've been using. That's about the depth of it, but it did start cutting in, so I've stopped that one, and I'm just using the angle grinder at the moment. I think I should be able to just about do most of it with that. I've made it slightly bigger, obviously, because we don't want the heat transfer. I'm hoping that'll be big enough, but I can always make it bigger. I'm not going to leave it filming while I'm doing it, because there's going to be sparks going everywhere. I don't want to ruin my phone, and knowing my luck, it'd fall in the canal. So I'm very nearly through. It's not a bad circle, considering it's with the angle grinder. I've had to put the batteries on charge, unfortunately. So another half an hour, I should be able to finish that off, and then I'll be able to lower the flue pipe in and see how well we line up. Okay, we have a hole. Just need to smooth that a bit. Actually, I'll probably just pop the flue in there and see how we're doing. I might as well pop that in there. Hopefully all the shavings are in the bag and there's none inside the boat. And I'll sweep that off. Okay, doesn't seem to be anything really spilled in the way of the dust. There's a hole in the roof of the boat. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we're up 27 centimetres, 10.5 inches. What I really want to do now is get everything on here and up and attached. But what I should do, and I will, is actually get these in place, because it's going to make life easier afterwards. It's nice and dry. I don't want water getting in there. Okay, so that's where we're going more or less. Let's show you. So that will be there. It won't be as much of space. I think you have to have 10mm. I'm going to check the regs before I do it all. There's plenty of space here between that and there, also because it's got these shields which also help dissipate the heat. Same this side. I've actually made it higher than the worktop because I'm going to have a raised edge on the side here to match that, so that both sides match height wise. So I'm going to get them screwed in place. Be a bit of a stretch down the bottom, but we'll get it done. And then move on to the fun part. So, yeah, everything flexes a little bit so I can fit some sealant in all the gaps. It'll squish it closed and I can fill all these in. Right, what I'm going to do before I push that back in is put a bead in a couple of places around here just to help it seal. I'm going to do it on the floor though, because I don't want to get on my sink or the drainer. Okay, got 2 beads in there if you can see it, and I've got that on the top which is going to stick that to there. Roof, hopefully. We're ready. the way. Okay. I think for now I can't do anything else inside. That looks nice and neat and sealed up. That's where I've done that part, which didn't really need doing. The seat one, you can just see it poking out there through where would have been a screw hole. So that section is stuck in place. And we'll just go outside. Okay, now you can see where it's dragged some of the sealant through. So I'm going to give that a wipe. just put a little bit more CT1 around that gap to fill that in. I'm going to pop that on and seal all that around as well. I will smooth that bit off a bit, I think. Or I might actually just push that down onto it. Yeah, that's the best idea. Okay. These bits aren't the neatest, I suppose, but I want to make sure the screw holes I've not used were blocked up. But as you can see, that's all sealed up, double lined underneath, so I don't think there's any way water's going to get in there. Now, I quite like how that looks. I'm not keen on how those silicone top things look, so I'm going to see if that's okay like that and not bother with it. I can always add one later if I want to. That's going to go up when the cladding's in place, so that will be nice and tidy. And the only thing I am going to do is I didn't put any seal and stuff, the fireproof stuff around that little edge there, which is obviously the collar that fits to the stove. So when it's cold, I am going to put a bead of silicone, fireproof silicone around there. Okay, I've got myself some firelighters, and I've got the all important, which I hadn't mentioned before, carbon monoxide alarm, which I'll be putting on. And I've also got a fire log because I want it to burn for a couple of hours just to make sure everything seals up properly. Bother with that. Okay, just steaming up the glass a little bit, but I'm sure that will clear. I suppose check for leaks, and then I'll get this carbon monoxide alarm on. That all looks fine at the moment. I think I'm going to put the fire log in and get that carbon monoxide alarm on working. Seems to be starting to catch okay. Got this in, the little lights flashing. I think that just means it's working. Okay. I thought they're supposed to beep when you press that button. There you go. We'll leave that there. Leave that there. And I'll just leave that to burn for a little while.